Hello, I'm Sophia.
And hey, I'm Kristin, and we are
Under the Barbell.
Over the Bullshit.
And we're a podcast for women who are sick of being told to just eat less, move more, and what they really want is to get strong, take up space, feel confident, and age well.
That's what we're all about, empowering women to live for more than a before and after photo.
So, wherever you are, grab a coffee or a pre-workout and hit play, because your anti-diet culture BFFs have arrived. What up, you Bob fam? Hey, hey.
Welcome back.
Hey, hi, hello. Welcome back again. Yes. It is like hot in September. I was like, it's been 80, 90 degree weather in September, which it's nice. I like the warm weather, but I'm ready for fall, like cooler weather. And also I don't want it to go from summer to winter.
Yeah.
Fuck that noise.
True.
Are you kidding me?
What's it usually like there this time of year?
Like nice and cool, like 60s,
Oh, shit,
maybe
really?
70s. Like, yeah, it's legit been like 80, 90. And that's like summer weather. That is not fall weather. It's like cooler in the mornings, but then it gets hot. I don't like it.
That's kind of us too. We've been like 80s, 90s, but I live in the South, so that's what happens. That's just normal.
That's normal.
And it'll go down to then we'll be in the 80s for a while, which feels really nice, like the lower 80s. And then it just kind of gradually goes. Our winters are, I think, shorter than what I remember when I lived up north. But I personally, I love the heat. There's nothing I hate more than to be cold. So I love the heat, and I am destined to live somewhere where it is summer year round. That's coming. One of these days, that's coming. That's our goal. Once my son graduates from high school, then we're heading to the beach. We're not sure where yet, but we're heading somewhere.
Oh my God.
That's our plan.
Florida?
We've been saying Florida, but politically Florida kind of scares me a little bit right now. I don't want to I need to be somewhere that doesn't really hate women as much as some of these states right now hate women. So Florida is still on our radar because it's not going to be for a few years. So a lot can change in a matter of years, but we're looking at North Carolina.
I love North Carolina. I just had memories come up from there. And then one day I saw 14 waterfalls because I love waterfalls. And I went with my grandma. And I love there. I want to go back so bad. I have a friend that lives there that I've been wanting to visit. Yeah, it's just magical.
Maybe I'll move there and you'll have to come see us too. We'll see. We haven't been. I used to go. My grandparents had a condo in North Carolina when I was a little kid, and we would go and spend a week there or whatever. And I have some amazing memories. And I always said, I'm going to move to North Carolina when I get older. And this is crazy. This isn't even my bullshit for the day, but here I am telling stories. I graduated college up in Ohio with my teaching degree. And I got a job offer in North Carolina. And it was right after I met my husband, who obviously was just my boyfriend. And he was actually on vacation in Vegas at the time because he was planning on moving there. And he had some family there. And so he went to just kind of start looking to apply for jobs and stuff like that. And I was just what do I do? Do I take this job and totally leave and not have any opportunity with this? Do I stay and see what happens? One of these days I will tell the story of how we met and you will die.
Oh my God, I don't even know.
Yeah, it's even my own son is if I ever do that, hit me. He's like, what is wrong? He's like, can't believe you did that. I'm like, you know what, buddy? It worked out well for you because you exist. Okay. So, we really did not know each other for very long. And I was like, do I take this job in North Carolina or do I see what happens with this guy? And I ended up seeing what happened with the guy. And
can you tell us now or should we wait?
I can. This can be my bullshit. And then my other bullshit will just be very short. So we met. He had a friend. His best friend was a lead singer in a local band up in Northeast Ohio. I'm from Youngstown, Ohio. There was Youngstown had a pretty decent live music scene at that time, late 90s, early 2000s. His best friend was a lead singer of a band, and I had met a guy in my classes at Youngstown State University. I don't remember which class it was, but we ended up just talking a lot and hanging out, and then we would hang out with him, and he had this very large group of friends that would hang out in the area that had I don't remember. It was like an Arby's, and I think there was like maybe a Starbucks kind of thing there, but it was not Starbucks. It was a coffee shop of some kind. You know, that little area where you kind of hang out between classes and whatever. And so I started going, I would go with him to like hang out with all these people. Everybody was super cool. And it turned out he was a keyboardist in this same band where Sam's best friend was the lead singer. I started going to see their shows on the weekends and whatever, like Friday nights, Saturday nights, we would go. Somehow, some way, I always had my camera with me. Like, this is before phone cameras. Like, we're talking like probably 99, 2000, 2001, something like that, starting. And I would take pictures of the band, and then I would just send them to them like, hey, cool pictures of you guys on stage, you know? And then they got a website, which back then, like, it was a big deal to have a website. And so they got a website, and I was like, oh, awesome. Like, I can give you the pictures to put on the website. Like, this works great. So I was, oh, shit, I hit the microphone again. Sorry. I don't know if you can hear it when I do that.
Every time.
I talk with my hands so much. It's the Italian in me. But I was sending pictures to like whoever was building their website, and they would put the pictures up on the website, you know, whatever, no big deal. And there was like, mostly the same people would go out every weekend to see them. Like, it was mostly their friends, and then, like, you know, kind of started to build up a little bit of a following. And they had a bunch of their close friends had these shirts. The name of the band was Underglow, which is so like 90s, early 2000s. But they had a bunch of their friends had shirts made that said Underglow on the front, and it said staff on the back. So like you could tell who were like the close friends, you know, like, because they were like the ones that would help out, whatever. Well, there was this one guy that had just like a white undershirt, and written in Sharpie, it said Underglow in staff. And he was like, I don't know. It was so, and we were just like kind of making fun of him and whatever. We're like, who is this guy? Like, what the hell? Fast forward, it turns out that guy was Sam. We didn't really talk a lot, but it turned out, I didn't know, he was the person making their website. And I was sending him the pictures from the band to the website. Like, we didn't really talk, but it just happened to be that we were interacting this way, not knowing who the other one was. I think he might have known who I was. I don't know. But they put a message board up on it, so like the fans could like chat in a message board and stuff. Again, it's so nice. So dial-up internet days. But not many people use the message boards except me and Sam. And so then we ended up talking to each other via this message board. And then I had a boyfriend. I was dating this other guy, and he came up to me. I was at, I don't know if you'll, it's kind of a little bit of a chain. I don't know if it still exists anywhere, but it's called Jillian's. It's one of those, like, it's like a bar that has like the little mini bowling area and arcade games. And,
oh, okay.
You know, it's like one of those fun places. So the band was playing there, and we were there, and he came up to me and introduced himself to me. And I was like, oh, like, that's you. Okay, hi. And I'm literally there waiting for my boyfriend to show up. And we're just talking. And I was about to graduate from college with my education degree. And we were talking about that. And I was like, no, actually, I think I just did. We met him in July, and I had just graduated that May. And I was like, yeah, like, I'm just trying to find jobs or whatever. And he's like, oh, you should move to Vegas. They're hiring. And I'm like, okay, guy, like, whatever, creepy dude telling me to move across the country. Because he had family there, and his aunt was there, and she was a teacher there. So that's how he like knew that. And he's like, yeah, they're giving like signing bonuses and whatever. And I'm like, okay, like, go away. Like, trying to humor this person. I'm sitting there with my friend. Like, so that was in July. And then from then on, we would at least like talk to each other when we would see each other on the weekends or whatever. But then we just started talking more and more. And somehow, I don't know, we started talking on the phone. I don't know how somehow phone numbers got exchanged. Yeah. And I remember my boyfriend calling me. This was in like December probably. And he was like, I want to come over. We need to talk. And I'm like, he's about to dump my ass. Like, I was sure, like, he's about to break up with me. So while I was waiting for him to come over, he lived like the next town over. So it would have been like 25 or 30 minutes before he got there. I called Sam. And I don't know why. And I was like, I think he's about to break up with me and whatever. And so like, I'm kind of freaking out, and we're just talking through it. And he did. He broke up with me. And Sam and I just started.
Did he say a reason? Like, what, why?
I don't remember.
Yeah.
I think it was just it's just not working out kind of thing. Yeah. I don't remember there being anything specific. But at least he and I were together about maybe 6 or 8 months.
Oh, okay.
I mean, at least he had the decency to like do it to my face. Like, I give him credit for that. Like, this was before texting was a thing. Like I said, this is dial-up internet days. Like, none of that existed. We had cell phones, but we weren't texting with him. But he could have just told me on the phone, So he actually, so I'm like, I'll give him some credit for that. I have nothing bad to say about that guy. But yeah, and then Sam and I just started talking more and more. And New Year's Eve that year, it was actually back at Jillian's again. Was that New Year's Eve? Actually, I think the day he introduced himself to me, Underglow was opening for Vanilla Ice.
What?
I'm so
They
serious.
could have made it big. What's going on? What
Yes.
happened to the band?
They're engineers, and I don't know, they have all these other jobs. Mike, the lead singer,
my
is
God.
still, I don't know if he still is now, but I know for sure he actually used to live here in Nashville for a very long time. And he was doing he's like an engineer, like a sound engineer thing. I might totally be making up that title, what he does, but he does something in music still. But the others are like engineers, like mechanical engineers and things like that. Was most of them. That's what they were in college for at the time. But yeah, but they open, I don't know, make it big. Vanilla Ice at Jillian's in Youngstown, Ohio is not exactly
Yeah, but Vanilla Ice kind of made it a little bit, you know?
Yeah, he did. But at that point, he was definitely on his downward path.
Okay.
You know, this was quite a while after Ice Ice Baby. And so that's like just like a funny side note is that the day I met him, they were opening for Vanilla Ice. And actually, it's funny because I have a picture of, like I said, I used to take all the pictures. I held up my camera and faced it behind me because I was up close to the front of the stage and I wanted to show the crowd. And so there's this picture somewhere, I don't know where it is now, but it's of the crowd. Sam is not far from me, and my boyfriend is like 4 rows back. I was like, whatever, I just kind of ditched him. Yeah, so we New Year's Eve comes along, and the band was actually playing New Year's Eve show at Jillian's again. I think honestly, it's the only 2 times they were ever at Jillian's, are these 2 times that are very important to my story. And we were just hanging out, and I used to drink like a lot. I was a good time girl for sure. Like
same.
Oh boy.
Same.
Thank God back then phone cameras were a thing because there was not nearly as much
God,
evidence.
Yeah.
Fuck. The evidence that there is, because like I said, I always have my camera with me. So the evidence that there is bad enough, but at least it's like funny. It's nothing like atrocious.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's New Year's Eve. And they are back at Jillian's. We're drinking a shit ton, or at least I am anyway. I don't remember. So he and I, my boyfriend and I had broken up. So I had been single for a while. Sam and I started talking quite a bit more just on the phone and whatever. Like we really didn't, like we were just friends. Like we were, and he actually, well, never mind. I won't tell her story because he might not want me to tell that. But he was actually telling me, I won't name names, but he was telling me about this girl that he kind of liked, and he wasn't sure if he should pursue it. And he's like, yeah, we've been friends and blah, blah, blah. I thought he was talking about me. He was not talking about me. And so he's like, yeah, he's like, she's really cool and this and that. And I'm just like, oh, well, maybe you should just ask her out. You know, I thought that was his like way of like, no. He was literally asking.
That's valid.
He was asking for advice about another girl. So New Year's Eve comes along. That was all that shit was going on during December. And then New Year's Eve comes, we're drinking and we're hanging out. And I'm like, this is dumb. And actually the band was playing Simple Man by Leonard Skinner. I'll never forget it. They're playing Simple Man, and like everybody's singing because Leonard Skinner, Youngstown, and it's just the time. And I just looked up at him and I just planted the biggest freaking kiss on him ever. And it makes him mad to this day that I tell everybody that I kissed him. Like the first kiss was because of me, not because of him. And he's like, I was intimidated by you. I'm like, I don't know what you're intimidated by. Anyway.
So how it started.
So that's how it started. So it was New Year's Eve. We dated, and I use air quotes for dated. We went on some dates that weren't great. For like at one point he got into a bar fight. Like it was I'm telling you, it was a wild time. So
and you stuck it out. You stayed with them.
It's a glutton for punishment, I guess. So then about 2 weeks, we like kind of went on these dates, and then he went to Vegas to visit. Like what I started this whole story with is he went to Vegas to visit, to potentially like start looking for jobs and whatever. And I got that job offer from North Carolina. Now I'd only been like kind of dating this guy for 2 weeks. And any sane person would have taken the job offer and gone to North Carolina where she dreamed to go her whole life
Especially because you didn't
to live.
have good dates.
No, no. And so I didn't. So I kind of put it off. He was only gone for a week, and I kind of put it off. I didn't answer them right away. And I had kind of decided I'm not going to go. I think part of it too was him, but also like I think I was just scared to go alone, move to another state really quick last minute like that, because it would have been to take over a class in January, like halfway through the school year.
Oh, yeah.
And I was kind of nervous about that too. And yeah, so I think there was a lot that tied into it, but he was a very large part of it. And I didn't go. He came back. We talked about it. He actually like kind of broke up with me. He was like, yeah, I don't think this whole dating thing is going to work, before he went to Vegas. And so I joke around with him now. I'm like, you broke up with me and you actually never asked me to be your girlfriend again. So technically I think we're still broken up, like jokingly. And so he came back, we started talking. And what it was is when we were just friends, I really liked him. Like, it was very cool. We had a lot of fun talking to each other and hanging out and whatever. But as soon as it turned into like we're dating, he kind of got weird. I don't know if he was trying to like show out. I don't know. He kind of changed the way he was
Yeah.
acting from when we were friends to when we were dating. And so we ended up going out that night that he got home from Vegas and had the most fun ever. Like, we just went out to eat, and then we ended up somehow in like a Kmart for some reason, but then we were like going through the toy department, like playing with all the toys and having fun. Like, it was just the most fun. I'm like, yes, this is the person that I thought you were, not
Yeah.
this guy that's getting into bar fights and everything else that was going on at that time. So then we started dating again, even though he never technically asked me to start dating again. We just started hanging out again. End of January, he moved to Vegas. And I was like, I guess I have a decision to make. Like, if I still want to be with him, I'm going to have to move to Vegas. And so I did. And so we were only dating for like a month. And I decided, like, I guess like he went, and we continued talking. I went out to visit him in March because I had to finish out the school year here. I wasn't a teacher yet, but I was what's called a wraparound counselor. And Pennsylvania has this program where you work with kids in school, home, and community, and teaching like life skills and things like that. So I was doing that, and I wanted to finish out the school year. So mid-March, I went and visited, and it was like no time had like we picked up right where we left off. Like, everything was great. And I'm like, all right. Like, and by then I'd already decided to move. Like, I was hiring moving companies, I was packing, I was selling my stuff, I was doing all stuff. And then in June, I moved, and
Damn.
that was it. So it's like we tell my son, I'm like, if you ever consider moving across the country with somebody who you've only been with for a month, and part of that month was bad dates. It was then it was only like 2 more weeks after he got back, and he moved. Like, it was the beginning of it. My grandma had died at the end of January, and so he stayed to stay with me, like, for her funeral and stuff like that. And then the day after her funeral in early February, he left. So like part of that month that we were together were really, really terrible dates. Yeah,
But you tell your son, like, go for it?
I tell him I'll kick his ass,
Oh,
and I and it's funny, I were like, no one in our lives was like, "Hey, are you guys sure about this? Like, are you sure this is a good idea?" But I mean, we were both like I think I was 24 at the time. Like, no one was gonna, even if they
yeah.
tried to tell us, we weren't gonna listen, you know? But,
Well, okay, 2 things. First of all, what happened so when you kissed him, when
mhm.
you just, like, turn to him and kiss him, at that point, was that other girl maybe still in the picture? Was he thinking about it? Did he have a crush on you? Like, what happened to the other girl? Like, what?
He had been friends with her for a very long time, and
Yeah,
so she was I think he never really brought her up again after
yeah.
that one time.
So he maybe always
Um,
kinda had a crush on you, but, like
Maybe, I don't know. I don't know.
What?
And so we still it's like a
Damn,
running
we need your
joke.
answer.
And like what's funny is that I'm friends with her now too. And so she's like somewhat so like Youngstown is not a very big place, and so people
Okay,
like
yeah.
you know what I mean. And so I'm not like friends with her, but like we're social media friends. She and I've talked on the phone a few times. She had come
Yeah,
to visit in Vegas, I think, once when we lived there. Yeah, but but
that's
he
funny.
had never really said. But it's like we joke around like at anytime he starts, you know, he's one of those people that like his love language is like pushing your buttons. Do you know what I mean?
Oh,
Like he'll like say
Kiana knows that.
yeah,
Kiana,
yeah,
I get it. That's Kiana's love language too.
Exactly. I get that from her, actually. I can sense that.
Yeah.
And yeah, so when he starts, like, so I could shut it down real quick and I'll be like, oh yeah, well, why don't you go ask? And I'll say her name and he'll be like, oh my God, you need to stop it. Because this was legit, y'all. This was 2003. We met in July 2003 and then, no, just kidding, 2002. We met in
Okay,
July
yeah.
2002, and then in that January to June when he moved and I moved, that was all 2003.
Yeah.
And so now it's 2025, and we got married in 2005, so we've been married 20 years now, and
Nice. Well,
yeah.
so I had a client who when I was in the other place that I lived working at, the gym that I was at, her and her husband, so let's see, she was living in Texas, he was living in South Dakota, and I think that they hadn't even met in person, if I'm getting this correct, if I remember right, that they hadn't even met in person, or maybe I think he maybe, like, drove once to see her and they met once, like, one of
Mm,
those, something like that, and boom, that's it, she packed up and left. She packed
yeah.
up, left Texas, went to South Dakota, and they've been married ever since.
Isn't that
Have kids,
crazy?
like yeah. So it's like when they say when you know,
Mhm.
like it's so like for me, from my perspective too, even it's like it's so true. Like when
Yeah.
you know. Like me and Kiana hadn't dated for very long, and we moved in together, and then got engaged on our 1 year, and got married the next year. So
Yeah.
yeah, it can happen quick. We
Yeah.
actually just met another couple. They met and got married like 4 weeks
Woo.
later.
Oh my
Lesbians
gosh.
move fast, but they moved real
Yeah,
fast. I was like, dude,
I was actually gonna say that. I'm like, isn't that kind of like a
it is.
stereotype that
It
lesbians like
is.
move? Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, we moved, like the moving across the country thing happened super quick. We got engaged that October. My birthday is the 29th, so like what is now? I guess when this episode comes out, it would be October.
Oh,
So
shit. So you're a Scorpio.
yep, I am.
I attract
So
so many Scorpios into my life.
yeah. We're awesome. What can we say? But yeah,
Thank you.
so
You are.
I told him that I did not want to get engaged on my birthday. Like I didn't want it tied to like a day. I didn't want it to be on Christmas, on birthday. Like I
Yep.
wanted it to like have its own day. So he proposed the day before my birthday. On the 28th. So
I
the
love that.
28th of that year, we got engaged. But I was like, okay, everything has moved really, really fast at this point. So let's slow down. So we were engaged for about a year and a half, I think. Yeah, we got not that following May, but the May after is when we got married. So we purposely like put it out like a year and a half just because everything else was moving so quick. I'm like, let's slow down and get things
Mhm.
planned and,
Yeah.
whatever. So
Yeah.
there was at least that. Plus, we got married in Vegas and all of our families in Ohio. So we wanted everybody to have time to like save money for a trip and book
Yeah.
flights. We wanted
Yeah.
that to be good. But yeah.
Nice.
So anyway, that's her story. I don't even remember why I started talking about that, but that's her
I don't
story.
remember either, actually. That's
Uh
good.
yeah. So what's
Oh
your
my gosh.
bullshit? Since I just bullshitted things that weren't even my bullshit for the week.
Yeah. So, okay, a couple things. First of all, I just learned, I had no idea, but yes, I just learned this yesterday that Starbucks is coming out with protein drinks. I don't know if you knew that.
Yes, actually you told me. I only knew
I
because of
know,
you.
and I was gonna get one today, but I already had coffee, and there's
Mm.
been this weird thing happening where I don't know if I'm not breathing properly or if it's the caffeine, but I get like a tightness in my
Oh.
chest, which is so
Mhm.
weird. Usually it happens later in the day, but or like maybe it's because I ate and then I don't know. I don't know what it is, but I'm trying to also like cut back on caffeine and costs of Starbucks. So I am going to get it at some point, but I've heard it's good. There's like a vanilla latte one and then like a matcha vanilla one. So I'm gonna be trying it eventually. I just decided not to get it today, but I'm gonna be trying it. So
There's
smart of them for them to do, and also you can just make it at home probably, but it's
Yes.
Arby's, so
I need to like look it up here. Sorry, that's why I'm looking off to the side. There's a coffee shop around here. It's a chain, but it's a new chain to us, but I guess it's been around other places. So y'all might have one there, but they
Oh,
also
what is
have
it?
a protein one. I don't remember because I don't drink coffee. So let me find the name of it. But they have a protein. I think it's got like 15 grams of protein in it. And like the protein to, the high protein check where you put the 0 on the 15 to make it 150. It's
Oh, yeah.
pretty close to high protein too.
Oh, nice.
Dutch Brothers. There it is.
Oh, you guys don't have a Dutch Bros?
We do now.
Now you do. Okay,
They're pretty
before.
new. Yeah,
Yeah,
I would
they're
say
around here.
The one opened up like maybe 2 years ago, if that, and
Okay.
then there's now some more popping up around.
Yeah.
But they have a protein coffee also.
Oh,
That
actually, I don't think I've okay, so I haven't been to the one here. I'm pretty sure there's one here. There's one called Dunn Brothers, but then I think when we were in Arizona, I think I did have a coffee from there once, but
yeah.
I
A
don't
lot of my
I'm
clients will get it.
I
Like
don't know.
some of them will stop and get it like either on the way to or from workouts and stuff.
Yeah.
Like they'll use like coffee as their form of pre-workout, like some
Yep.
caffeine.
That's
But
what I've been
yeah, but
using.
they talk about it a lot too. And then like you said, they are like, okay, I can make this at home for like
Yeah.
probably a lot
I
cheaper. But
know.
it's
It's
nice
just
when
fun
you're
to
out
try
and
it
on
and
the
see it.
go
Right.
and yeah,
And
yeah.
they're catching on because that's what people have been doing. They get protein drinks and put it in
Yeah.
like espresso. So
Exactly.
yeah,
What
capitalize
I
on that shit.
do is, I know we've had this conversation about me and soda before, so I am not ashamed to say that in fact, I got a can right here of some Kroger Big K. I told you I get the generic kind because I'm cheap,
Yep.
but I like to mix vanilla protein shake with my soda. So you
I
mix it
have
with
seen
a
that.
root beer and it tastes like root beer float. You mix it with like orange Fanta, like an orange 0 calorie orange Fanta, and it tastes like an orange creamsicle.
Yep.
I'll literally mix it with anything. So like I know people that'll go to McDonald's and get them and drink like half or whatever of the soda and then just pour their protein shake into it to mix it with the rest of it.
Mm-hmm.
It's good, y'all. I won't lie. It's pretty good if you're gonna be drinking
I've
it
seen
anyway.
it. I've
Hmm.
seen it when it went viral and stuff. I haven't tried it. I'm just not a soda drinker. I'm just not.
Yeah.
But unless I do like my grape lollipop, but it's so expensive. I haven't been getting that lately. 4 of them, or it's like
Yeah.
more than Zevia, like a 12 pack of Zevia.
Oh,
It's more than it's ridiculous. Yeah.
that's ridiculous. No.
So, anyways,
Anyways,
but the other
um,
thing is because I was going to update you on this, I started therapy, and I think I said that I was going to do brain spotting. I think I mentioned
mhm.
that in a different episode,
Yes.
and I just did that for the first time last Thursday. Do you know what brain spotting is?
I don't. I have no idea.
Okay, you know what? I was gonna pull up a like a definition of it, and I totally forgot. My therapist explained it to me, and then I actually had a client explain it to me almost even better just because it made more sense to me the way that she explained it because it was
Mm.
less therapist terms and more like
Yeah.
I don't know, dumbing it down for me, I guess. Okay, let me see. Definition of I'm just gonna see if I can pull up. Because I know it came from EMDR, which is another form of therapy, but
Mhm.
brain spotting is a therapeutic method that uses eye positions to access unprocessed trauma, emotions, and body experiences stored in the brain. Okay, that does not sound like what that is actually. Um, a trainer practitioner helps you find a brain spot. Okay, no, I'm sure this is right, but okay, so it's because it came from EMDR, which is eye movement desensitization and reprocessing. And so I had said that I used ART, which came from EMDR also.
Mhm.
Now, brain spotting also came from EMDR.
Okay.
So, what I experienced was what we did. I had like headphones in, and it uses I don't know the type of music, but it like goes in one out the other because it's going through different like left hemisphere or left side of
Mm.
your brain to right side of your brain, and like going back and forth. And so basically what I was doing was I was focusing on the things. So I'm working on people pleasing and confrontation. Like I hate confrontation. I avoid it. And it's really, really showed up in like
Yeah.
this relationship, but also just like me, myself. And it's just,
Mhm.
it sucks to live in day to day. And so I was focusing on those things specifically. And then all of a sudden, so while that was happening, like it's like the music is going, and she gave me like a pointer thing. So anytime I felt not necessarily pain, but just like I noticed what's the word? Feeling like on my body, like whether it was on my arm or my leg or wherever. A lot of the time it was in my chest or my stomach because whenever I think about scenarios where I didn't confront something and I wanted to, or like the people pleasing, or like if me and Kiana had a argument and I didn't like voice what I was actually thinking, like I have these feelings come up and it's always like in my chest or my stomach. So
Mm.
most of the time I point it to my chest or my stomach, but then every now and then I would feel something in like my arm or my leg. I don't question it. Like you're not supposed to question it. Not like you just go with it. And it's easy to like overthink that and be like, am I doing this right? Am I thinking about
Yeah.
this right? So it's really just like letting go and just whatever happens happens. And so I'm thinking of those things and then situations and scenarios just like flood to my brain, like memories
Yeah.
of different experiences. And then I even had some other memories pop up with other people. So like other things are coming. So like your brain is it's like that music and going from one side of your brain to the other side. it's like processing, it's moving those emotions, it's processing those memories and those things, and even things might come up that you didn't even remember and now you're remembering. But what is super interesting, so I've only done it once so far, is the days following that, it's all, and she told me this, that you'll likely be processing over the next like 24, 48 hours as well. And so like I remember driving to my client's house, and I just kind of was thinking about it and thinking of those situations, scenarios, everything. And one word came to mind, and it was forgiveness. I'm like, oh, like forgiving
Oh.
myself. I journaled about this today actually. Forgiving myself for getting mad at myself for not voicing things that I'm wanting to voice, or for not confronting things, or the people pleasing tendencies, like just forgiveness that came to me. And I kind of questioned it, to be honest. I'm like, I don't know. Like, did this come from that? Is it like, I don't know. And it's almost like one layer has been freed. This
Yes.
is kind of how I can explain it. You're crying.
I'm literally gonna cry.
Yeah, I
Like,
know.
oh,
And
so
yeah.
fucking awesome, bro. Like,
And
that is so cool.
And
Ugh.
props to I'm gonna give a lot of credit to my client, because she actually she kind of was helping me figure out some of these things in the beginning, which what kind of prompted me to go to therapy, which I was wanting to do that eventually anyways. But I was telling her about all this, and she tries to let me talk and like get it out versus her telling me what I'm like going through and feeling, like
Yeah.
to get to the roots of it. And I was telling her about it, and then she asked me a question, something about like I don't remember what it was exactly, but in my head all it was coming to my mind was the forgiveness aspect of it, and I hadn't said that to her yet. So finally I told her, I was like, forgiveness, like that's just what comes to me, I don't know. And she was like, gave me a high five, and she's like, yes, like that's what I've been
Yes.
trying to get through to you. So that's been really interesting, just to kind of like dive deeper into that and work through that. And then actually one memory came to my mind where I think it all started, and I'm not 100% sure if that's it or not, but I'm going to bring it up in my next therapy session and talk to her about it. But I'm like, it's like the first time that I can remember feeling that gut punch, like in my chest, like feeling bad about saying something, or like I should have,
Mm.
I spiral. I'm like, I should have done this. I should have said
Yeah.
that. I shouldn't have done this. And it's just like a constant replaying of things. And the first time that I can remember that happening is like this one specific time when I was younger. That's like what I can trace it back to. So I'm going to keep working through that. But dreams, I've been having dreams the past few
Mm.
days of a very specific like topic and thing, and it's been happening consistently over the past, so it's like almost like more
Mm.
things are now surfacing, because
Mhm.
that the type of dream would come once every now and then, once a month, twice a month, but it
Yeah.
literally in less than a week, 3 or 4 of like
Yeah.
the same situation. So,
Yeah.
anyways, that's my bullshit.
Anyways,
That's
it's
yeah.
amazing. Let me tell you the reason, I'm gonna cry talking. The reason that made me emotional is that I had sort of a similar experience, not with brain spotting or none of that, but just in my therapy with processing cancer. And
Mhm.
actually, I don't want to get into it here because I will get into it
Yeah.
when we do talk about breast cancer. But and it wasn't that long ago that it happened, and I didn't understand what was happening. And I talked to my therapist about it, and I told her the whole story, and it literally made her cry. Like it was like it was a whole thing, but it was a very similar type of a thing where it just like kind of hits you all at
Yeah.
once, and like you're just like, wait, what was that? Like, is that really what, you know? And basically how she taught, she was like, that's essentially, you're recognizing, you're identifying it, and it's a trauma release is basically
Yeah,
how she
yes.
described it. So it's a trauma release. And then I also was having some really vivid dreams, but I think mine are probably medication related, not to that. But she was
Mhm.
talking about how, like, once you do kind of acknowledge some of these things and release, it makes room for then more things to
Mhm.
now be ready to be processed. And
Mhm.
so that was like literally my experience when I do tell it. Like it was I didn't know how else to explain it to her, but it literally felt like a spiritual thing. Like it was crazy. And
Mhm.
I like it just, and then honestly, just that word forgiveness, like that is so fucking like
Yeah.
that's what therapy's for. Like that right
Yeah.
there. You know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah,
God, that's
and
so
I've done
huge.
that, like so I've gone into meditation, like, I've been in deep meditative states, like, I've done breathwork classes before,
Mhm.
and a lot of now that I'm thinking about it, a lot of the time when I get into that deep meditative state, it's an image of me hugging my younger self, and at first I
Mm,
thought maybe it was for, like, just not liking my body or, like,
mm,
the restrictive eating and being negative towards my body, and maybe it was maybe it was a piece of that too, but, like, I think that there's more to that because, yeah, every time it's, like, me hugging my younger self and forgiveness, like, it's always, like, forgiving myself for different things.
that's
So,
cool.
yeah.
That's so cool. I love it.
So, not to make this a
Love it.
therapy, session
Anyway,
here, but
I know, and we're actually this
I just
episode's
wanted
going
to
really
talk
long.
about that. I know.
Um,
And I think I just wanted to bring that up too because, like, therapy isn't really talked about as much, and I think
yes.
that some people, like, talk therapy can get a negative, reputation because, well, number 1, if it doesn't help, if you don't like your therapist, but also
Mhm.
because, I've heard people say that you're continuously talking about something negative and reliving it, but sometimes you have to in order to process that, but then also
Yep.
things like EMDR, ART, brain spotting, like, those type of things, you are actually like, processing shit,
Yep.
and
A
it's
very a,
crazy.
a very wise woman once said something, and I'm not going to get this right because I can't get song lyrics in my head that fast, but basically she said that sometimes you have to look backwards in order to move forward.
Mhm.
And the iconic Taylor Swift.
T
Uh,
Swift.
that's who I was going. But yeah, so just very briefly, I cannot let this episode go on without acknowledging very quickly. It'll be already out by the time this episode comes out, but as time of recording, we are only a few days out from the new album on Friday, and I'm so damn excited about it.
Ooh.
And literally in my house, it's a Taylor Swift weekend in my house because all day Friday will be the album. I am not kidding you. Saturday, we are going out. There's an album release party DJ thing out at a place here in Nashville. And there will be so much sequins and sparkles involved in
Yeah,
that.
I
I am
bet.
so stoked.
Oh, that's
And that
awesome.
we actually, my husband and I were making friendship bracelets last night to take. And then on Sunday, we have tickets to her movie theater event for the release. So it's literally the
Oh.
whole weekend. It's a Taylor Swift weekend. And my son will be in Memphis competing in a cross country meet. And he's like, just stares at me. He's like, okay, well, you guys have fun with that. He's like, I have no interest at all, but I am so stoked. The bracelets
Oh
are
my gosh.
ready, the sequins, the rhinestones, the everything. Listen, I am not apologizing for the person that I am about to become when this
I love
album
that.
comes out.
I love that. I can't wait to see photos and hear about it.
Oh, I'm so excited. So yeah, so that's all. I'll just leave it at that because we've already gone very long with our bullshit.
Yeah.
Quickly, I wanted to acknowledge my shirt. So no feminist shirt
Yes.
today, guys. Sorry. But I am, I think I've mentioned before, we're Cleveland sports fans here. I'm from Ohio, Northeast Ohio. And the Cleveland Guardians have had one hell of a season, baseball season, and they have made it completely unexpectedly to the playoffs. And the first playoff game is today. It's a wild card game today against the Tigers. And it's actually happening right now. And at the moment, they're
Woo!
losing. They're losing 1-0 at the moment. But
Oh.
so back in July, they were 15 and a half games out of first place, which basically is like, okay, well, whatever. Like they were supposed to have this great season. They had a great season last season. Everyone predicted them to do awesome. By July, they were 15 and a half games behind, which is like, all right, just
Mm.
throw in the towel, whatever. No, they came back. And then in September, the start of this month, they were 9 or 9.5 games behind. And they ended up just winning. They ended up first place in the American League Central. They just clinched that the other day. And then today is, like I said, the first game of the playoffs. Like they never should have even been
Holy
close to
shit,
this.
that's wild.
The second half of the season has been so much fun to watch and
Nice.
so exciting. And just, I love seeing like any sports things or whatever, like anytime or really anything, even like reality TV sometimes even.
Yeah.
But like whenever I see people happy and excited, like their genuine happiness and excitement, I freaking cry every time. Like I sit on the couch and I'm like, I'm so happy for them. Like I love to see people like celebrating and happy and excited. And so like watching, so the last game that they ended up winning, which like totally clinched everything, ended up, it went into extra innings. The game was tied at the end. It went into a 10th inning. And the one guy ended up hitting it was a 2 or 3 run home run to win the game. And
Oh,
so he's
geez.
like skipping through the field, and like all the players come out and they're jumping and they're dumping the Gatorade, and everybody's like, it was like I keep rewatching it, honestly. Like I keep rewatching it on Instagram because I'm like, I love to see people happy. It makes me so happy when they're happy. So it's been really fun to watch because every game closer that they just got so much more exciting, you know. So
yeah,
I'm super
I mean, that would be
stoked.
fun to watch. That would be fun to watch.
Yeah, so super excited that playoffs start today. Whatever happens, it has been a super fun season. And I don't really talk about the fact that we are baseball fans or watch baseball. I mean, like I said, they were 15 and a half games behind. There wasn't much to talk about.
Yeah.
But I have the app on my phone, so I keep tabs of the games all the time, and we watch when we can. And so, yeah, anyway, it's been fun. So no feminist shirt today, just go Guards, and let's see if we can move on to the playoffs. So that's about that. This episode, though, now that it's like 40 minutes in,
I know we are 40 minutes in. Oh my God,
we legitimately are. Because I wasn't expecting. I wasn't planning on telling the whole story about like how Sam and I met, and that was like 15 minutes. So, but this episode, we are gonna wrap up a couple of the old Ask Me Anything questions that we've got that we didn't get to in the last episode. We do have some newer ones that we're gonna set aside and do in a future episode. And we might have to start doing this shit weekly or something, Sophia. We're starting to get so many things that it's we might have to start doing this more, but we're going to wrap up the old Ask Me Anythings that we've got. And then we also want to spend a little bit of time talking about the Biggest Loser documentary on Netflix. And I think there's some really big key ideas and themes that will come from that I think should be addressed and mentioned. And so, yeah, so we'll see. We'll just see where this episode takes us.
If you haven't seen that, you should go watch that.
Definitely go watch it. Yeah.
Bleeding really bad right now.
You're bleeding? What'd you do?
Yeah, I pick my skin, and especially when I'm like anxious or when I'm nervous or when I'm super busy, I'll pick my skin to the point of bleeding.
Literally
not my nails as much anymore, but
yeah, I'm literally picking at my thumb skin around my nail as you're talking about doing that.
Yep. So I need to get my nails done, so I stopped doing that. But anyways, that's why I'm like over here distracted. Okay, so let's get to those questions. I'm gonna bring them up here.
Yeah, I actually don't even know what these questions are. So
this will be fun.
We're gonna wing it.
Yeah. First one. I don't know if we should say names or not. I don't know. I mean, if that's something, I don't know if we should what do you think? Like, is it fine to say names, do you think? Or
I think if they put it on the post, then it was public. I feel like that maybe is okay. But if it was like a DM, then maybe keep it private.
Okay, yeah. We'll just do.
And then y'all going forward, if you do ask us questions, let us know. If you don't want your name in the episode, let us know.
Yeah. Okay, so first one. This one, I believe, is actually from Kiana. Thoughts and feelings on trending diets. Like, I feel like the keto diet is always around and trending, but right now I keep seeing the carnivore diet everywhere. So what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah. Have you watched the Liver King documentary?
No. Oh my God. I keep in my mind, I'm like, okay, I'm going to remember to watch that.
Yeah.
And then I always forget, but that is one that I wanted
to
watch.
You need to watch that because he was one of the big pushes of the carnivore diet.
Yeah, and a lie, like a scam.
I mean, he was doing the carnivore diet, but he also was doing steroids and other things.
He was saying that he wasn't.
Yeah, but by the end of it, though, he was not carnivore anymore. So I think and even the other guy there was somebody who went on like some like fucking Rogan or one of those shows and was like pushing the carnivore diet, and even he himself has backtracked on that, and he has added fruits and vegetables back into his diet. So I feel like we just need to be my personal feeling on it in general, as medical conditions aside, like there's like keto came from epileptic children. It helped stop seizures in children. And in fact, one of my good friends, her niece years ago, I mean, early 2000s, ended up having to go on. It didn't have a name yet. It was just like, higher fat and lower carb, whatever. And that was the diet that they had her on to help control her seizures. And then when I started hearing about keto coming and they're talking about, I'm like, wait, that sounds an awful lot like, what the hell? And then, then I learned that's actually where it came from. My personal feeling is medical conditions aside, like things like that, or, whatever, maybe with diabetes, maybe there's some reason to control carbs or something at that point. But any diet that has a name is probably not one that we should put a lot of stock in, is my personal take on it.
Yeah, I would agree. And also, like, I would say on any trending diets, just be
Hmm.
wary of it, be cautious, and don't jump the gun right away into doing it because it's trending for some reason, whether it's social media, an influencer, maybe it is like the industry just trying to make money on
Hmm.
some supplement or some meal
Yeah.
plan or whatever it is. There's always going to be trending something, trending diets, trending supplements, like
Yeah.
whatever it is. So be cautious, be wary, be curious, like, and with I guess carnivore specifically, I know people that have done it and have seen like success. They live by it. He like lost a bunch of weight. He felt good, but I don't know if he's still doing it. He maybe is. He was doing it for like a year, I think, or something. But he was also, I think, started to work out more. He also cut back on maybe like drinking or the
Hmm.
highly processed foods. Like there's other factors. It's not just one thing usually. And then also keep it in mind that I think it's fine to experiment with different things. Our bodies react to different
Hmm.
foods, different things, and maybe you try it for a few months and then you like shift a little bit. Carnivore is maybe more like if you're, if we think about like seasonal, like eating for the seasons, maybe it's like a
Hmm.
winter thing. You're going to just try it out and see. So for me, like I think that's okay. It's more of like an experimentation, but it's not the end all be all. It's not like
No.
it's not gonna be the one thing that's going to I wanna be careful here. Not get to where you wanna be because people have done that and succeeded, but don't put your stock all in one thing, like you said.
They succeeded, but what's the definition of succeed? Because those diets aren't sustainable. And so when they go back to quote unquote normal, did they gain all
I'm
the
gonna
weight
look and
back?
see if he's
And if they did, they didn't succeed. You know what I
I'm gonna
mean?
look and see if he's still doing it real quick, actually. I don't
I
know
think
if they'll say it on here, but
so. While you look, I feel like, to me, like, the reason all those things are always being pushed over, I mean, that's just diet culture, constant diet culture.
Mhm.
Every new trend, everybody's looking for the next quick thing, which is going to feed really great into the Biggest Loser documentary conversation. And it's just diet culture being rebranded with another name and with more promises, and all of it is, for the most part, I would say, is pretty unsustainable as far as lifelong, like, adherence and
yeah.
um sticking with it, and keeping the, whatever the goals were, whether it was fat loss or muscle gain or whatever, like, to continue on it and continue having that success is just not very realistic.
Yeah, you have to know what's realistic for you, what's gonna be realistic, what's gonna be sustainable.
Yeah.
I don't know, there's no sign of, like, if he's continuing or yeah, I don't
Yeah. The thing with
know much.
carnivore that scares me is just the literal, so for those that don't know, carnivore diet is exactly what it sounds like. If you just eat meat, like lots and
Mhm.
lots and lots of meat. And there's concern about, like, heart health and whatnot involved in that. But also, there literally no fiber. They, like, they don't eat fruits and veggies, so they have no fiber. And a bunch of them are like, "Oh, my digestion is great," and whatever, but the long-term effects, it might be in the moment, but the long-term effects of it aren't ideal, which is why these people who were originally a big part of who was pushing it in, like, social media and podcasts and whatever, have actually backtracked, and they have started adding fruits and veggies back into their
Mhm.
diets, because it's just not, you know,
Yep.
not something we need fiber, guys. We eat your plants. Eat the
So
plants.
important.
Please
Yeah.
eat the plants.
Yes. Yes. Okay, so that's that. Kiana, another Kiana one. If you could do one exercise for the rest of your life, what would it be?
Okay, so I had, like, clarifying questions on that. So, does it have to be the exact same variation of that exercise?
Oh, that's a good question.
Because my thought was, I would probably pick something like a squat, because there's lots of different types of squats that you could do that would
Oh.
target different. You could do a front squat, a back squat, goblet squat, split squats, Bulgarian split squats, sissy squats. Like, there's all these different ones that would target muscles differently and keep me from getting too bored, because it's something I'm doing for the rest of my life.
Yeah.
So that was my I had a question, but if I'm not allowed to pick, like,
I would guess you're not allowed.
variations
One
of it.
specific.
It would probably have to be, and not necessarily because it's my favorite right now, but I feel like it's maybe the most, like, what's the word I'm trying to say? Like,
Transferable.
beneficial, maybe, like, something I should just it's something we should just probably be doing all the time anyway, not all the time, but, like, continue to do, are
Yeah.
some variations of deadlifts. I feel like I would probably say deadlift, and whether it's a standard barbell deadlift or Romanian or, even just dumbbells, as we get older, we're not gonna do quite as much weight maybe into much older age. So, but I feel like that's one of those, like, functional type things, like, to be able to properly bend over and pick things up off a floor and whatever is something that we should probably always be doing throughout life anyhow. So I think
Mhm.
maybe deadlift is what I would go with.
Yeah, mine would be barbell deadlift, hands down. I just fucking
Mm,
love to deadlift and, like, it's my favorite. It's fun, I love to do it, but also, yeah, the how it transfers into day-to-day life, it works,
mhm.
like, the entire body, like,
Yep.
it's just for me, that's the one that I would
Yep.
choose.
That's
Yeah,
funny. We both picked the same thing.
I
Look
know.
at that.
Mhm.
Go
Mhm.
don't be afraid of deadlifts, y'all. Do your deadlifts. Trap bar
Yeah, for
deadlifts are
real.
also great. All kinds of great
Yeah, all
deadlift
of them.
variations.
All
Yeah.
of them. Yep. Okay, so this one is from Robbie. He's one of my clients, and actually, I trained him this morning, and he said that he has a whole list, and that every week he's
Oh,
just gonna drop a question.
yes.
He's like, I feel bad. No one comments. I feel so bad that no one comments. So I have a list started, and I'm
Thank
like,
you,
perfect.
Robbie.
Yeah.
You're our favorite you bobber right now.
Yes.
So for the
Yes.
rest of y'all listening, check those Ask Me Anything posts on Monday and post something.
Yeah.
And they
Yeah.
can even be silly things. They don't even have to be like, maybe you
Mm-hmm.
don't have a specific nutrition
There
or
is a
workout
fun one,
question.
like not
Um,
workout.
yeah, but like maybe it's a question about us, like something you're curious about
Oh
us,
yeah,
or
personal. Yep.
even, just like a would you rather type that, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Like don't just go and ask us those help us with content, and
It's
plus
just
any
fun.
engagement that we can get on our social media always is great too. So
Yes.
all right, Robbie,
Um,
let's hear it.
okay, so there's a few of them just because he had asked this when we were working together and I wrote it down and then I forgot to put it in here, but and then one he did comment. But so have you ever had the perfect workout? And is it worth it to chase the perfection? How and I think it was like how you feel after how do you feel after what you did? How you feel after what you did after. What did I say? How you feel. I think maybe it was like how do you feel after, like, do you feel like it's always perfect afterwards? Do you know what I'm
Mm,
saying? So have you ever had the perfect workout, and is it worth it to chase the perfection? And afterwards, do you feel like it's perfect? Or how do you feel afterwards? Do you always feel
yeah,
like it's perfect? Do you always feel like it's not perfect? Like,
that's interesting. I don't have any one specific like workout or something that comes to mind, but I do, like, when I think perfect, I guess to me it's more like, did it just feel good? Like whatever the exercises were that were
I like
in
that.
it, like did it just do I feel like, yeah, like we did something today, like I feel great. And definitely like lots of those. And I think for me it's like kind of a combination of, like, I really feel like not only I feel like I worked hard and I pushed myself appropriately, I didn't like half-ass anything or whatever, but also like maybe I was able to like go up in weight on some things, which is always really exciting and makes you feel like you got a really good workout when you're able to add weight. And then for me too, it's that after effect. Like when you're saying like, what do you feel after? Like, I don't know if that means like later after or like immediately after. But to me, it's like when I'm thinking about when I was lifting in the gym and not in my garage, but like when I would come home and my husband and I would like we would get out, get our post-workout food and like creatine, whatever, like you just feel really good. Like you're just in a
Yeah, you just
good
feel good.
mood. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, and, like, we're just kinda smart, like, you feel tired, but you're like, "Yeah." Like,
Mhm.
it's the what does Elwood say? "Exercise gives you endorphins, and endorphins make you happy, and happy people
Yes.
just don't kill their husbands." Uh, so it's like, the endorphins are going and, like,
Yep.
yeah, to me, like, any workout that leaves me feeling like that, I would call a perfect workout.
Yeah. So, like, what is your definition of perfect? That's a good question to ask. Robbie, because I know you, I would say, well, this pertains to pretty much everyone, especially if you hold the all or nothing mentality, then I
Yeah.
would say chasing perfection is not necessarily a good thing until you get out of that all or nothing, or like not even all or nothing, but like, well, yes, that, but being a perfectionist, like chasing that
Yeah.
perfection. So until you're out of that and you're working out of that, then mentally it's not, and emotionally it's not necessarily
Mm,
a quote good thing to work towards perfection. And then have you ever had the perfect workout? Yeah, like to me, it's hard to answer that because like
yeah.
what is perfect? I've never even
Right.
thought of that. What does perfect mean for me? Like, I don't, that's actually, I should have thought about that before this. I don't even know
Yeah.
exactly. But I will say too, like, sometimes after a workout, most of the time I feel good. Most of the time I feel better. Most of the time even if I didn't want to do the workout, I'm glad I did. And I pushed myself more than what I thought I would just because of like, once you start going, you kind of get into it a little bit more. And this came from I hope she's okay with me saying this, but Kiana has said that sometimes after her workout, she doesn't feel better. She doesn't. She
Mm,
feels maybe like shit, or she just doesn't feel like the good feelings or the feel
yeah.
good endorphins, whatever. Like she sometimes
Uh-huh.
doesn't have that.
I get
So
that.
yeah. So it's like I think you have to again consider like what does a perfect workout look like for you and feel like because it's gonna be different for everyone, and also getting out of the perfectionist mentality. If you're that, don't chase perfection then.
Mhm.
But okay, last thing I'll say on this is I will sometimes in my mindset, my thought process, if I have time or I'm for only one exercise or I'm just focusing on one lift, deadlift or a squat, I think about, okay, how can I perfect the skill of this movement even more? I know I'm
Yes.
not really a perfectionist in that sense. So, like, I'm not trying to be perfect or getting down on myself if it's not perfect, but I'm trying to super focus on my form, mind to
Mhm.
muscle connection. Like, how can I get better at the skill of exercise or of that specific lift?
Yes.
That's the only time that I'm thinking about perfection in that sense.
Yeah, I agree, and I totally get what Kiana's saying. I also have had that same experience, and what I found with myself is that the difference oftentimes, I mean, sometimes it's just mental state, like going into that workout, what's happening in the rest of life. Sometimes it is just going through the motions, and that's okay.
That's
Your
true.
body is still getting the benefit of it. But aside from all of that, I feel like the times where I feel like that endorphin rush versus times I don't is a lot of it is what's how do I want to say it? Like, not how I worked out because duh, but like if I was sticking to my rest breaks, if I was really pushing, or was I kind of stalling and half-assing and scrolling a little bit between
Mhm.
sets. And like when I'm doing that, I don't always feel great after the workout. But when I'm sticking to my workouts and I have the intensity at an appropriate place, that's when I feel the endorphins after the fact for me
Yeah.
personally. And it's really easy training in my garage to get into that because I'm at home. Like sometimes I come in the
Yeah.
house and I do things and I get distracted. I'm halfway through my work. But trying really hard to keep the focus on the workout and not on anything else makes me feel that good, like perfect thing
Yes.
a lot better. And then to your point too about like form and whatnot, like I just met with my coach right before we started recording this, and I meet with him once a month on Zoom. And that's literally what we do is we go look through the videos and it's like, okay, on squats, this next time going into it, I want you to focus on doing blah, blah, blah. It's literally just one thing. It's like, what's one thing that I can just do a little bit better? I'm
Mm.
not going to worry about the overall everything. But like,
Mhm.
for me on deadlifts, it's I need to come into it with more intensity. It's not even so much about form. It's that I need to come into the workout like hyped and ready because if I
Yeah.
don't, I'm not going to get the weights that I want to get if I don't come into it hyped. And with squats, like sometimes it's just a matter of like making sure I like tuck my chin to keep my spine neutral. Like the tiniest little tweaks that can make a big difference in how much weight you're lifting or whatever because you're just making the lift more efficient. So rather than looking at the whole thing as like a perfectionist big picture, look at one thing. Like what's one thing that I can focus on for the next month to get really good at on this particular lift. And then once that's second nature, I can pick one more thing. But
Mm.
it's like a
I
slow
like that.
burn of getting awesome versus like trying to overwhelm yourself with all these different cues that
Yes.
then you don't remember any of them?
I love that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love that a lot. And I will say too that last thing here on that is sometimes honestly I'll feel pissed after the workout because
Mm,
specifically when I'm injured. So like right now I'm going through my
yeah.
hamstring is good. I don't know if I don't know if I told people this on the podcast, but I pulled my hamstring
Yeah.
this past summer. Yeah. well, it's also resulted in just my right side being so fucking tight, and then I have
Yeah.
something going on with my knee. Like, I don't know. I'm hoping it's not like MCL. It's like medial knee, but it's a sharp pain.
Oh,
I can't squat, lunge, and step ups. Like, it's like it sucks. Yeah, it hurts. It's definitely better. So like going upstairs isn't as bad, going downstairs isn't as bad, but I can still feel it. And so yesterday in my workout, I had lunges and squats and step ups. And I try so hard to like push through my heel, focus on my glutes, my like muscles, and that helps, but only to a certain degree. And then my knee starts to hurt and I just get pissed and annoyed. And I told my
yeah.
coach, like, he knows, so we're going to like change some things, but it's just so frustrating. So in that sense, like I did feel good afterwards because it always feels good to move my body and to exercise.
Yeah.
But I also was in kind of a state of not feeling good because I'm like annoyed and
Just because you get
frustrated,
pissed.
you
Yeah, it
know?
comes
Yeah.
back to that mental thing. Yeah.
Yes. So,
Yeah.
yeah. Okay. Next one. So this was another one of his. Okay, he has two others, and then the other ones are from this week, it looks like. So
Okay.
maybe we'll end with these two.
Okay.
Is normal gym culture a breeding ground for toxic masculinity?
I don't
He
think
asked
so.
this, and I'm like, oh,
That's a great question.
yeah,
I kind of fucking love that, Robbie. But I think that what's normal is determined by the space, if that makes sense. Like, I've
for
been
sure.
in gyms where, yeah, it's real toxic, and that is their normal, and I don't feel comfortable in those places, and I don't feel welcomed in those places. And then I've been to places where what's normal is just everybody working hard and everybody is
Yeah.
supporting each other. And, even like some of the older men in particular. I think honestly, they're kind of some of my favorite gym goers because a lot of them, because they've probably been in the gym for years and years and they're just huge and jacked and whatever. And they look intimidating or scary, but truly end up being some of the nicest, most
Yes.
supportive people that you will find. So I think that in gyms where and maybe now that I'm thinking about it, it seems like the places where I felt like they were more toxic were the places that I don't know if you have these types of gyms where you are, but Nashville is very like kind of everybody wants to be trendy and cool for social media and whatever. And the gyms that seem to cater to that are the ones that feel the most toxic masculinity type of thing. Whereas some of the gyms that don't really care about that, but you have like these longtime members that have been there forever and they've created that atmosphere of helping each other out and answering questions and spotting each other when needed or whatever.
Hmm.
Like you can have like to look at it from the outside, they might look the same, but when you go in, you don't feel that at all. So I think it's hard to say normal gym culture because I don't know what that, I don't know.
I think it is all about perception because we might like, what you might perceive, so someone who's maybe a new gym goer, they might perceive the gym as being toxic, and, like, so toxic masculinity is more geared towards, like, men, I'm guessing, like, just for that
Hmm.
aspect,
Yeah.
and so I feel like, again, yeah, like you said, like, I think it depends on. Okay, I think it's a perception. If you go in and the way that someone looks or the way that maybe you're uncomfortable or you're scared or anxious, it might come off that way as like toxic masculinity or like just the toxicness of it.
Hmm.
I think when you experience something happening to you, that's valid. That's totally different. But I feel like if we're talking normal gym culture, I do not believe that that's a breeding ground by any means for
Hmm.
toxic masculinity. There are maybe tendencies or there are maybe people in the gym that can come off that way, and that just sucks. But for the
Yeah.
majority of time, like you said, they're like the nicest people.
Hmm.
No one cares about what you're doing.
No.
Like, they just care about their own shit.
Yep.
Which actually brings me to something that this reminded me of something. I'm gonna bring this up right now before we get into the last question. So at our gym, Los Campeones, the gym owner, his name is Casey, and he is fucking phenomenal. He is like the most genuine person that you will ever meet. Super nice. Just him and his wife, super nice people. And he is super supportive of everyone. Anyone who has a business, anyone who wants to put up posters or like their personal training stuff. Like I see posters all around. He comes up to me. He's like, "Hey, I've been meaning to ask you, do you have any flyers for your podcast? Like, I'd love to put up some
Oh,
flyers." And I'm like, "No, but you
okay.
know what? Like, that's a good idea. I
We
should
can do
do that."
that. Yeah.
But you know what came to my mind? This has nothing to do with the gym environment. It has nothing to do with Casey. It has everything to do with me and my own shit and my identity. Okay. And that is that I initially have this like fear of I feel like for the most part, I don't really care what people think of me, but in certain situations, I kind of do.
Mhm.
Is what I'm learning about myself. Like that fear of being judged almost because Los Campeones, while it is a super welcoming environment, there's all different types of people. There's bodybuilders, there's
Mhm.
powerlifters, there's strongmen, there's lifestyle, just like me going and just doing whatever, like lifestyle type of shit. But what I have found intimidates me are the bodybuilders for some reason, like the people that are super into their macros and, like getting cut and
Mhm.
lean and like bulking and all of that. For some reason, I have this thing where I fear if I put up that flyer, we're gonna get judged, laughed at, made fun of because we're not
Mm.
the
We're not
bodybuilder
that.
style. Even though I'm
Yeah.
so confident and convicted in what we're doing, in our approach and all of that. But
Yeah.
for some reason, I have this, and again, it's nothing to do with the people
Yeah.
there. I'm not even thinking of anyone. It's like not the owners, not the environment, not
Mhm.
the gym at all. It is such a good environment and supportive group of people. But for some reason,
Yeah, just imposter syndrome. I think we
it
all
is for sure. Yeah.
have imposter syndrome on some level
Yeah.
for some certain thing, you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I think I
So,
I've I feel I have gotten over it a lot, but I very much felt exactly that on social media. And it was
oh,
because the gym where I
same.
was heavily bodybuilding and whatever, and they were very into
Hmm.
stuff, and I'm just, like, not on board with a lot of it, and it's not that I think it's bad, it's just not for me.
Yeah.
And I think
Yeah.
just for average everyday people, it's not for them either.
Yeah.
Um,
Exactly.
and
But, like, and
so
even the bodybuilders that I know there that I have met, they're super nice,
yeah,
and some of like, they are
absolutely.
super nice,
Yes.
but for
Yes.
some reason, yeah, I don't know, it's totally a me thing that
Yeah.
I gotta get over. But I do
Yeah.
plan to make flyers. I do plan to make flyers and
Yeah.
just do it, just put it
We
up because you
can
never know.
do some I can also get some, we get, like, QR codes on it so they can scan it straight to Apple
Oh, that's a good
Podcasts, straight to
idea.
Spotify, straight to the social
That's a good
medias.
idea.
Yeah, we can do
We
that.
should do that.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's a good idea. Thanks,
Yeah.
Casey. That's very cool. And
Yes.
to that point too, one of the things I thought of when you were talking about that and talking about Casey and whatever, one of the things that I've really noticed is that around here at least, the owner seems to set the tone, like the
Hmm,
management and the owners and whatever. So when you
100%.
have people that are super cool and super supportive and
100%.
whatever, then the members feed off of that. Like
Yeah.
I don't work in this particular gym because it's actually on like the complete other side of town for me. It's just too far for me to drive on the regular. But I work with the owner of the gym, and when he has women clients that come in and are looking for a coach specifically, like if it's powerlifting or something, then he reaches out to me and then he connects us. And then
Nice.
they are members there. They do the rest of their workouts there, but they will come to me just for like that one day a week or something. And then I actually have one of my clients lives on that side of town, so she ended up getting a membership there. So it's like we work together, like he and
Yeah.
I kind of help each other out. And
That's awesome.
he is like the complete definition of like supportive, and he's very
Mhm.
kind of particular about who he allows to join also, because he wants to keep it very cool, like very supportive, very
That's
whatever.
cool.
And
Yeah.
it's yeah, I hear this story, so I now have two girls. Like I have one who had always been there that I actually got from him. He sent her to me. And then I have mine that's been a long time client that goes there now. And just to hear like the stories they tell about like a lot of the other guys, like when they're going for like a heavy squat or something, and like they may not necessarily come over and watch, but they'll be like on a bench off to the side, watch. And then after like they'll clap or whatever.
Clap.
Like,
Yeah.
just hearing like just that
Yes.
support and that like, keeping an eye on each other and saying hey to everyone feels really comfortable and really
Yeah.
good when they're there. I really think that a lot of that starts top down.
Yes. Oh my God,
And
100%. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
Matt, the name of this gym though, I'll go ahead and shout them out because
Yeah, do
You
it.
shouted out yours too, but it's Poe's Gym. It's over in the Nations neighborhood in Nashville, and Matt's the owner, and Matt is just incredible.
I love
He's
that. Oh,
very
that's
cool. Yeah,
amazing. Yeah, it's
and
so nice
it's
when
yeah.
they're, like, that supportive.
And it's like
And I
this like very old school gym. It's just like in like this warehouse thing, and it's just very like you walk in, and to see it, if you look at it online, it would look very intimidating and very like,
I
oh
find
my
that those are the
gosh.
most not intimate, like, those are the
Yes.
most supportive, uh, happy owners and,
Yep.
like, gracious and just, like,
hmm
out of because me and Kiana visited a couple before, one in particular I can think of, and it's like we met I think he was the owner, but yeah, they're, like, some of the nicest
Yep.
people.
Yep,
Yeah,
exactly. I agree completely. Yeah,
yeah,
it's very
yeah.
cool. So if you ever need a gym in Nashville, if you're in that side of town, man, check them out and don't be intimidated
Yes.
by looks because it's everybody in there is very cool.
Yes, and shout out to Los Campeones.
Mhm.
Come to check them out.
Hell
It was
yeah.
when he said that to me, I was like, "Oh my god," like, I super appreciate that. That is
That's
so awesome
so cool.
for a gym owner to do that, you know?
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, absolutely. All right.
okay,
One more.
last one. One more. How to support your partner who isn't lifting as much, and be there to support them the first time in the gym.
Oh, so like their very first time?
Yeah, I would say so. Very first time, maybe, like, they're just getting into it first couple times and just,
Yeah.
like, how to support them
Um
in that.
I mean, gosh, let me think. Like that was kind of my situation a little bit. My husband was real bad. Like he played football and all that. So like he had a lot of gym experience in his life. And then when I started going to the gym, I had almost none. I was a runner, and we maybe went to the weight room like twice when I was in high school. And like that was it. So I had no experience with it. So when I think back on that, I feel like honestly, some of the best things that he did back then was literally just giving me the space to go. Like, and it maybe this is a little different too because like my son was 8 years old at the time. And so it was like, if he needs to stay home with my son so I can go to the gym. And thankfully all the gyms that I had gone to were okay with him coming, but you don't want to drag him there all the time. So like
Yeah.
just making it so that it was easy and accessible for me to get there, honestly, was huge. And it eliminated a lot of excuses I might have otherwise made to not get there. Do you know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
And so I think that was something he did that was really helpful. And then also just like celebrating with me, like I legit
Yeah.
started with 3 and 5 pound dumbbells, and moving up to the eights was a really big freaking deal. And, just being happy for me and celebrating me no
Mhm.
matter what the number is, just like being excited for me that I'm making improvements and just encouraging. I think just the general overall positivity,
Yeah.
I think can really go a long way towards support.
Yeah. I think, like, making it a big deal too like that. I feel like yeah, this is hard because no once you know your person, like, knowing
hmm
how they are, how they react, how they like, do they like to be celebrated? Do they like to have things be a
hmm
big deal? Like,
Right.
what would you ask straight up asking them, "How can I best support you?" You know, like, "How can I best support you?"
Communication. Who knew?
Who would have thought? Yeah. And I think that, like, okay, so how to support your partner who isn't lifting much? And I think one aspect too is whether they are starting to lift because they want to, or you want them to start lifting,
Mhm.
or maybe they're like thinking about it, like just being the example. And again, yeah, same thing like you said, like celebrating, making it a big deal, like
Yeah.
having to be fun of some sort too, because if it's not fun,
Yeah.
they're not going to keep doing it. So
Yeah.
whether it's doing it together or just doing something that's fun and exciting somehow with it. And yeah.
I think another thing too, thinking back on it, like once we got going, so I wouldn't say in the very beginning, but like maybe a couple months in, like once I started feeling more comfortable with it, I remember like almost setting like little goals. Like, okay, today I'm gonna
Oh
do
yeah.
like one armed row, and I'm gonna try these dumbbells. Like, let's see if I can get it today. And then like, kind of little mini goal setting, to keep kind of pushing.
That would be good.
And I
Mhm.
think too, like that when they say like maybe aren't lifting as much, that's such a relative, like subjective thing.
True.
And that comes up a lot, like in Facebook groups. I see women all the time say, well, I see everybody saying that I should lift heavy, but what is heavy? I'm like, heavy is
Mm.
relative to the person, so what's a lot to one might be not a lot to somebody else, you know?
Mhm.
And
True.
so I think maybe that's the thing too. Like if that person is like self-conscious or whatever because they feel like they're not lifting enough, like letting them know that this is very specific person to person and we're all different and
Yes.
we don't compare your day 1 to somebody's year 10, you know?
Mhm.
And just like letting them know that like we all started somewhere. Like I might be a competitive power lifter now, but I seriously did start with the 3 and 5 pound dumbbells. I still have my workout log from those days, you know? We all
Yeah.
start somewhere and then we just continue to progress into something else. But, you know, making sure that they're not comparing themselves to
Yes.
unrealistic things for where they are in their journey, I think is
Yeah, for
important.
sure. Oh my gosh. Like, yeah, reminding them of that and that you have to start somewhere
Yeah.
and to suck at first. It's okay to suck at something. Like, it's okay that
Yeah.
you're going to be frustrated. It's okay that because you probably will. You're going to get frustrated. You're going to get annoyed. You're going to be learning this whole new skill,
Mhm.
of lifting, of moving your body, of exercising. And so I think it would be helpful for your partner to just remind them
Mhm.
that it gets better. It does. It's just like
Yeah.
the part that you just gotta get through the suck of it
Mhm.
first.
Yeah, and I that's funny you say that too because, like, I think that sometimes, you know, it does suck, and we compare ourselves to the other people that are in that space around us who, like I said, maybe have been there for years and years, but think about telling a friend who has never done this before, "I did this," and they're gonna be like, "Oh my god, like, that's so cool," and, like, people say things, you know, "I'm so jealous of you, I wouldn't have the guts to go do that," you know, like, it's make sure you're comparing apples to the apples, you know what I mean? And, like,
Yeah,
we always tell it like, I tell people all the time, I tell myself too this even, is be brave enough to suck at something new because
yeah,
you might suck compared to the people that have been doing it, but compared to the people that aren't brave enough to start, you're light years ahead. So,
yep,
you know,
embrace it.
it's yeah,
Mhm.
yeah, cool.
100%. Yep. So yeah, that was it. Next time we'll talk about best tips for DOMS recovery and when pushing through
Mm.
muscle pain and soreness is not a good idea. We'll talk about what historical figure would you want to work out with?
Oh, yeah.
Would you rather never have to commute to work again or always have a 3-day weekend? And then having an injury and getting exercise in when you're in serious pain. How do you do it? I hurt. So I know who this
Mm.
is. And then
Yep.
protein intake when one doesn't eat meat. So those are the questions that we'll have for next time, in addition to any other questions that we get.
Yeah.
So when we do a specific Ask Me Anything
Just keep bringing them, and
episode.
sometimes some of these questions, like, there was one a few episodes back where, like, the question had such a, like, big answer that it just literally became one whole episode of that one
Mhm.
question, so,
Which one was that?
that was the, getting started with strength training.
Oh, yes. True,
Mhm.
true. Okay. Yep.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
it was like, it's not something we can answer in, like, a 10-minute thing, so we'll
Yeah.
just make it a whole episode, you know? So it just
Yes.
it lets us know that we're giving y'all what it is that you want, so
Yes.
keep them coming. And we forgot to, before we move into the next thing we're going to talk about, we forgot to mention in the beginning that we love not only when you leave us questions on the Ask Me Anythings, but when you leave us reviews on
Oh, yeah. I
our
forgot about this.
podcast. Yeah, and I was going to read it. I had to pull it up, and you know, as we do,
We
we just started
forget.
talking about whatever. We started talking about how I met my husband somehow. So I will read this real quick as we transition to the next topic, since we're at like a transition point. But please, like, leaving us 5 stars, leaving us reviews, following, subscribing, all of that stuff really, really, really helps more than you could ever know. And so we're always thankful when anybody does that. So this review says, this is on Apple Podcasts where you can actually type out a review, not just leave stars. So that's where I'm reading this from. It says, I love that these two get real about how dangerous and stupid diet culture is and what it does to our mindset when it comes to a fitness journey. Both of their stories are relatable, and when coaching, they're able to meet clients where they are and help them attain sustainable and reasonable goals. Thanks so much, ladies. You rock. So,
Nice.
no, you rock. And I do know, I think I can say who it is. Can I say who it is? Because I do know who this one is from just because
Then
of the
yeah,
username.
probably.
With the
Yeah.
username, this is actually Justy. She's one of my longtime clients. Justy and I have been together since right after COVID, I think. What's funny is that, like, she, like, got a hold of me for a consultation, and it ended up having to postpone it because she had surgery on her wrist and then got COVID. And then right after that, I got COVID, and and that's when you had to do like 14-day quarantines and all of that,
Yep.
So like we're trying to like get together a consultation, and it ended up being like weeks and weeks before we could actually get together. But we've been together ever since through all of the illnesses and surgeries and all the things. Yeah, we've been together. So thank you, Justy, for leaving that review. And everybody, please, please, please leave us those reviews. We love to see them.
Do it.
And remember, you can find us at UBobPod on all the socials.
Yes.
All right.
that was great. Socials.
All right.
The topic time.
Biggest loser, which just the title in and of itself makes me want to go on a freaking rant. And so the biggest loser was, I have in my notes, it started in 2020. I'm sorry. Oh, Lordy. 2004. Almost said 2024. 2004 it started, and I believe they said it ran for 12 years, but I did not look that up to confirm it. I know it was something like 16 seasons, but I think some of those seasons there was like 2 per year at some point. So I think they said it was on for about 12 years. And that is like, I mean, those of us that we remember those early 2000s diet culture days. And I feel like this just only fanned the flames of that so much.
It's interesting that years later things are coming out. Like, it's just funny because like years from now things are going to come out about this time, you know, like it's crazy.
Yeah. And so it's on Netflix. It's been out for quite a while, at least several months. I'm not sure. I don't know exactly when it came out, but the documentary, I should say, is on Netflix and came out several months ago. It was a 3-part documentary. Each episode was like 45-ish minutes, maybe an hour, something like that. And I felt like they did a really good job, at least from a viewer's perspective. Like they really had good like little cliffhangers to get you to the next episode and things. So it wasn't a boring watch at all. I felt like it was interesting to keep going in the story of it all.
And I'd never watched The Biggest Loser. Like I knew of it, but I never watched it. And so, but I mean, obviously, like since we're in the industry, it's more interesting to us to watch it. But it is very interesting to hear people's stories because they bring people on that were on the show and how it affected them after the show, mentally, emotionally, physically, even like all of those things, how it's impacted them.
Yeah. And I think I think kind of the overarching issue that I have with the show itself, and honestly, I think is why I just didn't watch it at the time. I have this very strange, like there's certain things I can't bring myself to watch because like I get really like extreme secondhand like embarrassment, secondhand frustration. Like I don't know if it's like an empathy thing, but like there's certain things that I can't watch. Like for example, there's a show I don't know what it's on. It's it's a show where they like kind of follow the autistic people.
Okay.
I can't remember what it's called, but it's apparently very well done. It's done like it's really good from what I understand. It's really good to like bring awareness to like general populations on how autistic people view the world, see the world, interact with the world, and it just brings just awareness, I guess. However, it feels to me like a lot of the scenes in that show to me feel like things that I'm not supposed to see. Like it feels almost voyeuristic kind of, and it makes me uncomfortable. It's like some of these things should have been private moments, like this person struggling with going out on a date or kissing a person or things like that. Like that, I'm like, I don't feel like I'm supposed to see that. It makes me uncomfortable. I don't want to watch it. And that was kind of the vibes I would get way back when from The Biggest Loser. Like I always felt like they were making fun of people, and I didn't feel comfortable watching something that I felt like was designed to mock another person, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
And then I was watching this documentary, I actually started taking notes on things that some of the former contestants would say that kind of confirmed that for me. And so some of these ones that I wrote down, like they would walk into the one thing in the one room, and it was like some sort of a challenge or something, but they would just have pies everywhere. And it was supposed to be like this temptation. And it was like fat people can't control themselves around food. And, it was like that. And that's so not true, Like, they would just have pies all over, or the one challenge, they had to carry food with their teeth from one side to another for the
Mhm.
challenge, and even the public weigh-ins with making them take their shirts off, and some of them were very clearly uncomfortable with doing that, but now we're doing it, and we're putting it on national television. Like,
Mhm.
I I couldn't get behind that, and even like I said in the start, the name, The Biggest Loser. Oh, I can just feel it brewing in me
Yeah.
where I just wanna fight. And then, oh my gosh, there was one clip that they showed in the gym, and Jillian Michaels was literally hanging onto someone's back, almost like as if she were a backpack and making them do squats, but they were, like, hanging onto, like, rods, and they were doing squats. She's just, like, clinging to the there's just
Yeah.
so much of it that made me at the time so uncomfortable, and then now watching this, I my opinion is that they didn't make this show to help people. They made this show to make money, and if
Well, for TV, yeah.
making fun of people
Entertainment.
brought them money, then they were gonna keep making fun of people, and that just absolutely makes me want to fight.
And always whenever you're in the and what I've noticed, entertainment industry, TV, reality show, it has to be extreme. Even social
Yeah.
media, you have to be more and more
Yeah.
extreme to get more and more views and
True.
follows and all and make money and all of that. And, like, bottom line, this show is just not healthy by any
Nope.
means. Nothing about it is
Nope.
healthy. The way that they go about it, and they even talk about that, that the
Yes.
way they go about it is not healthy, it's not sustainable. I mean, obviously, you can go back and see their stories, but, the doctor that was on there, I mean, kudos
Mhm.
to him because I think that he did try and he
I
was,
think
like,
so
saying,
too.
"This isn't healthy, this isn't the way to do." He would tell
Mhm.
other contestants and players that, but, like, of course, the contestants and players also didn't really care because for the money, but
They
also
wanted
they just
money.
wanted the weight loss. But, like, I mean, there are people someone almost fucking died. There were people
Yes.
that would almost pass out, they weren't eating, like and even people came back later and said that what they did, they knew it wasn't healthy, or maybe they didn't realize it till later, but, like,
Mhm.
it just wasn't healthy the approach that they were taking. I mean, it was extremes, extremes.
Yes. I actually wrote down a quote of something somebody said, how, like, they knew, I don't know if it's where is my notes, but I'm gonna find it in a little bit, but they knew that what they were doing wasn't healthy, but the competition of it and the money side of it and not wanting to be embarrassed by getting on that scale and not having a big number, let them push aside what is actually healthy and not. Oh, you know what it was? It was one of the winners, and he said, like, the entire last week or 10 days, he had no actual food because that final weigh-in was coming and he wanted to win the money. And he
Yep.
did nothing but, like, cleanses. Oh, here it is. It worked out great because I won, but I was doing what most doctors would say is unhealthy. The last 10 days, I didn't put any food in my body. I was doing the master cleanse, whatever that is, like lemon juice, cayenne pepper, and tricks to cut weight. And then at the end, after the weigh-in, they tested his urine. He had blood in his urine, indicating like severe dehydration and all that because he was not doing anything to take care of himself because he
Yep.
just wanted to win.
Yeah.
And I think it's the extreme, and the vast majority of the contestants, no matter how much weight they lost, gained their weight back, and some of them
Mhm.
gained even more
Yeah.
after the fact. And
Yeah.
there was a study, was it the New York Post or Times or one of those, that published the study about basically like what those types of extreme diets do to metabolism. And
Yeah.
I really wanted to make sure we talked about that because I think that's a really important thing. Like, that's still happening now with extreme diets. And, we have programs like Optavia and these things where they have people eating 800 calories or so a day. Programs like that have people eating so little that they tell them don't exercise, it's not safe. And that's
Mhm.
crazy. That's absolutely bonkers. But what that does to our lean muscle mass, what that does to our metabolism long term, and how that affects our ability to, like, continue to have a healthy life after something like that, I
Mhm.
think was a really important kinda conversation I thought would be good to have because
Yes, and also so we should get into that, but then I wanted to kinda break down to how it feeds into diet culture
yeah.
and some of the things that, like, I would be like, "That's bullshit, that's bullshit, that's bullshit." So,
Mhm.
first, it feeds the all or nothing thinking, right, which we've talked about in the past. It really feeds it reinforces the belief that if you're not in it, you're not all in, then you're failing, or that
Right.
like you shouldn't be doing anything, right?
Yep.
Obviously, it feeds into the thinness equals your worth. Like that smaller is better because it ties success to a scale number. It's like only about the scale number. They obsess over it. They obsess over before and afters. It glamorizes
Yep.
the before and after. It glamorizes
Yeah.
the number on the scale, and that shrinking your body is like the ultimate success. Getting skinnier is the ultimate success.
Yep.
Totally ignoring, I just spit. Totally ignoring mental health, long-term habits, quality
Oh
of
my
life,
God.
your metabolism in the future. Like it totally just neglects that completely. Oh, and then ignoring like even the individuals themselves. Like, I know that they had that doctor on there, but, like, it's the plan was not really to the specific person. It's
Uh-uh.
just like, "Go as hard as you can. I'm gonna
Uh-huh.
push you to your limit, literally, until you, like, almost die, till you
Yeah.
faint. You're not eating any food." Like, it's just unethical, super
Mhm.
unethical. And all of these things that I'm talking about is still a thing in the diet culture world,
Yes.
and I feel like that has really, whether we know it consciously or subconsciously, whether you're trying to lose weight or not, it has fed into
Mhm.
what we're like now and even back
Exactly.
then.
Like, actually, I highlighted in my notes while you were talking, 'cause I'm like, "Yes, exactly what I wrote." I wrote the quote that someone said, but I didn't catch who said it. But it said, "Achieving a dramatic weight loss transformation was so valuable to people that they were willing to do anything they had to do to achieve it." And then
Mhm.
I put discussion point. How has this that and that idea in the show, how has that altered people's perspective of what weight loss should look like, what
Oh, yeah.
success really is in terms of weight loss, in terms of body composition? Like, I think that people think that they want to have these huge transformations and
Super fast too, like
really
the quick fixes.
fast.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they think that that's normal because of shows like this. And it's
Mhm.
not normal. It's so unhealthy. It is not the sustainable healthy best way to go about it. But I think that seeing things like that in the media and whatever has really altered people's perspective on it.
Yeah. Yes, and it also ignores internal cues with yourself, like getting in
Mhm.
touch with yourself and like the
Yes.
intuitive aspect. Like there's, we have the sciencey type of approach, but also there's something to be said about the intuition and knowing
Yeah.
when to not push as much and knowing your hunger cues and the pain, the exhaustion, all of those things. It's just like you're totally becoming distrusting of your body.
Yes, 100%. And something you mentioned too a minute ago about like mental health, and it like completely oversees that. And one of the things they talked about in the documentary was how they had no mental health professionals available. And we all know that with I mean all of us, we just got done talking earlier in this episode about how important therapy is and how helpful it has been for each of us. But we know that people who might have a hard time losing weight or whatever, oftentimes it stems from whether it's something that happened in their past or some sort of a trauma or something like that, where a mental health professional is absolutely needed on this journey to help them
Yeah.
get to where it is they want to be. And this show was using Jillian Michaels and Bob Harper, the trainers, as like quasi therapists, and they have
Mhm.
zero training on that. And if anything, that kind of thing can do more harm than good.
Mhm.
And so that was also another really frustrating point where it was like, this was a real opportunity to give people some services that could have really been beneficial to them and really helped them on this lifelong path of weight loss, as opposed to just the quick shot of however many weeks this show was
Yeah.
and then being like, okay, you made us our millions, get the hell out of here. Like,
Right.
I think that
Yeah.
that's such a huge piece that just they just
And it goes
neglected.
to show something to be said here too, because in the show they talk about I don't remember who it was, at least one, maybe a group of people, two people, I don't remember. They were contestants and they later reached out to them being like, "Hey, have you guys ever thought about like a plan after The Biggest Loser? Like coming up with
Yes.
a plan for the people that are
Mhm.
done with the show, but how they can now implement it into their
Yeah.
life for long term." And I don't think they got a response back. Like I think it was
No.
just crickets.
Yeah,
Nothing.
he didn't get a response back, and then I guess one of the producers of the documentary asked him about it, and he said, "Well, yeah, that would have been really great and that would have been nice, but we're just a show, like, we don't have an endless budget and we don't have whatever." Like, this show made billions.
Yeah, fuck
So,
off with
yeah,
that. Like,
yeah, that's
no
what he
way.
said. That's what he
Yeah.
said.
Oh my
Yeah.
god. And then too, the other thing
Ugh.
that came to my mind is they really use shame as a part of their motivation.
I wanted to go there
Like
too. Mhm.
yeah, and when they're whether they're exercising or talking about, like, their food, eating, it's always they're just, like, yelling at them, putting them down,
Yes.
shame, that it's punishing, and that drives results, but in reality, no. It just
No.
destroys your motivation, it destroys self-trust. It also destroys your relationship with exercise and food. I think a lot of these people, like,
Absolutely.
hate exercising now, they hate healthy food. They probably I think maybe even someone said that they can't eat a certain food because I don't know. That's maybe not right, but same concept here,
Yeah.
like, it
Yeah.
just totally destroys that.
100%. And the shame part of what I watched on that documentary was just I couldn't believe like, as a human, I could not speak to another human the way they were, like and one of the things too that really kept grating on my ears was they kept calling them fat. And I'm like,
Oh,
"Okay, hold
I just
on, like,
cringe inside.
you have fat on your body. Fat does not define who you are. You are not a fat you know what I mean? Like, to just say
Yeah,
you're fat, that's just like saying you're a woman. No. No, 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 no.
that's
Like,
true, yeah.
that's it's like it just adds to that shame spiral, I feel like. Like,
Yeah,
this just
totally.
defines you, and that does not define you. Like, you are so many other amazing things besides the fat that's on your body that those other things do define you, and just the way that they kept saying it, and they would say it and maybe it was just how I was hearing it because it was bothering me, but I always felt like they were saying it in a way that was degrading, like, "Oh, fat." Like, they
Right.
were
Oh, yeah, for
you know?
sure. Yes, oh my god, yeah.
Oh,
That's
it
absolutely what they were doing. I know, I just cringe every time. It's like, oh yeah. Mhm.
Oh, it's so frustrating to me. And then another quote I hear from one of the producers said, "The first season, we were building the plane as we were flying it. The producers didn't know quite the direction it was going to take. They didn't know if it was going to be hilarious, like we were making fun of overweight people,
Yes,
or
I
if it
remember
was
hearing
going
that.
to be inspiring." I'm like, hold on. So, like, the purpose of this never was about helping people. It was never, let's make the show that's gonna be really interesting so we can help people. It was always about, and TV, like you said, anything like that is always going to be about the money. But it just feels so misguided. I feel like the general public was like, "Oh, they're helping these people lose weight and whatever." But really the reality of it was they just wanted money at any cost, whether it was making fun of these people or mocking them or
Yeah.
doing
Yes.
unhealthy like it
They
yeah.
even said it, that they didn't know the
Mhm.
direction that it was gonna take, you know,
Yep.
and with a lot of things, a lot of shows like this, whether it's reality TV or anything, there's always things going on behind closed doors that you have no idea about. Like, okay, just example is like Disney Channel when there was a documentary about
Yeah.
this one guy, I don't remember his name, I don't remember, but the child stars were coming back years later talking about like the sexual
Mhm.
harassment and overworking and, like, all of those things, right? So it's,
Mhm.
like, same concept,
Yeah.
same but different.
Yeah, you just never know what's going on
Yeah.
behind closed doors. How about when it came out that they were giving them caffeine pills and all of that stuff?
Oh,
Mhm.
yeah, because they talk about on the show that they were given those things. Oh, because Jillian and the other coach, they were
Mhm.
yes.
The
Doctor was
trainers
not,
no,
the
and
trainers were.
yeah, and the doctor mentioned more than once too, to his credit, kinda like you said earlier, like, he mentioned how he insisted every season on meeting with the trainers and talking to them about, like, the health or whatever, but then the trainers literally, like, said in the documentary, like, "You're not." Oh, I think I have a quote actually from Bob on here that I wrote down because I was like, "Are you kidding?" He said something like, "Nobody's gonna tell me." He said, "Doctors have a god complex, and Dr. Huizenga is probably no different," and kinda, like, smirked a little bit. And then he said, quote, "No one is going to tell us what to do when it came to diet and exercise. It was our meal plan and our exercise program."
Mhm.
So they just
Yeah.
completely
Oh, yeah, they weren't listening.
no,
Yeah. No.
no.
And
Ugh.
Jillian didn't even go on the documentary,
Yeah,
which I think that says a lot in
she
itself too.
refused to be a part of it. And then also
Mhm.
when Bob had his heart attack, like a severe extreme heart attack, she never reached out to him.
Oh, that's
I thought
right.
that was pretty interesting too.
That's interesting, yeah.
She's never really been known for being like a decent human from what I understand and still
Yeah, I've
isn't.
heard that.
But, like, yeah, that's pretty shitty.
Yeah,
That's pretty shitty.
yeah. Should we quick circle back to the metabolism thing?
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, we could talk a whole lot about that, but what
Yeah.
specifically do you wanna talk
Basically,
about?
like, I think I just kind of wanted to explain sort of why these extreme diets, whether it's the Biggest Loser or any other low calorie, like super low calorie diet or program that you follow. I actually made a reel on Instagram like a few weeks ago where I was like, because I was like, I want to like have some kind of a visual to help people see this and understand this. And so I used a glass of water. I had like a full glass of water. And I was like, okay, this is your metabolism when you're like, say, in your 20s. And like for a lot of us, like in our teens and 20s, we have these memories where we were like, I felt like I could, you know, eat anything and nothing ever stuck, whatever. This is assuming you aren't someone who was overweight as a child and battled those things all the way up. Then we talk about like, okay, so you have your metabolism, you're here. And then women in particular, we hit our 30s where we naturally start to lose muscle mass if we are not losing weight. And we know that muscle is metabolism, essentially. Like it's what drives our metabolism, other things too, but it's a big piece of it. And so as we start losing muscle in our 30s, if you're not strength training, your metabolism is also going with it. And then you do these extreme diets that are so extreme that they cause you to not just, you're like, oh, I lost weight. It's like, yeah, it's weight, but you lost muscle along with the fat that you lost. You didn't just lose fat. And that's a big part of the problem. So you do these extreme diets that now have your body paring down muscle just for survival. And so now your muscle mass on your body is even lower. Now your metabolism is even lower. And it just continues on. Like that just spiral continues and hormones come into play. All these other things come into play. But it doesn't. And then lots of cardio too. That's another one. Like way too much cardio also starts paring away at muscle. And so by the end of this, you're left with a body that, yes, is a lot lighter on the scale, but it's also a lot lighter as far as like skeletal muscle mass goes. And so when you return to what should be your normal, it can no longer be your normal because your metabolism has dropped along with the muscle on your body dropping. Did I explain that in any kind of way? So with the glass of
I
water,
think yeah.
every time I said like, you do this extreme diet because you want to lose weight. Well, you just lost some more muscle mass, and I would pour out the glass of water, and the water in the glass was getting lower and lower and lower, representing your metabolism. And a big part of what happened to these people on The Biggest Loser was because it was so extreme. They were eating. I did say something like they had to burn a minimum of 6,000 calories a day.
Yeah, it was
Uh-huh.
insane.
And
It
they
was,
were,
like, in, like, insane
yeah,
amount.
thousands. And they were only eating like 800 calories a day.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
so it's so extreme. They weren't just losing fat, you're also losing muscle. We also can't build muscle in that type of an environment. Even if they're lifting, we're not able to build muscle in that type of like internal environment because your body has to use it for energy. It needs to get energy from somewhere. If it's not coming in from food, it's got to come from somewhere, and your body will break down your muscle. And
Yeah, and
it,
store fat.
yeah, exactly. And it just left them in this spot. And any of these extreme diets, not just them, I want to make sure everybody's clear that all of these extreme diets, even the ones that people do today,
Or
leave
if you're just eating less and less,
mhm,
and you've been in that for, like, a long time.
an extreme, yeah, a long period of time, which is why we try, like when you do a calorie deficit, it's a phase. Like it's only a matter of however many weeks. Like I usually aim for like 8 to 12 weeks at the most. And then we come back, we raise our calories back up for a while. And you should cycle.
Yeah.
But when it's a deficit for an extended period of time, good call. Or if it's just super extreme anyway, where it's very, very, very low calorie, you're losing muscle. And when you lose muscle, you lose metabolism.
Yeah, and so much more that you don't realize inside because you don't feel
Mhm.
it. So, like,
Yep.
for example, when you're only eating, let's just say it's 800 calories, hair growth is gonna go out the window.
Yeah.
Your body's not gonna prioritize that because it's just not.
Yeah. It
Skin
needs your
quality of skin.
Yeah, so you need
Yeah,
your organs to work. Your
right,
body's gonna
yes.
put those calories to organs, not to hair growth.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
gonna put it to storing fat because that's it needs to survive and stay safe. Like, it's not gonna prioritize the hair growth, the skin quality. It's not
Mhm.
gonna prioritize building muscle. It's not gonna prioritize, like, even I know people who have they're more prone to injury or, like, even, like, on
Mhm.
their nails and like, nail growth and
Yeah.
strength. It's not gonna prioritize any of that. So
Yeah.
even, like, things like and hormones too. It's not gonna
That's
hormones,
what I was gonna
we don't
say.
need that. We're not gonna prioritize that.
Yep. Yep.
Yeah.
Hormone, that's not, yeah, and that's when you also end up with terrible sleep which then feeds into
Yes.
this cycle
Yes.
of everything just keeps repeating, digestion, it even doesn't even really prioritize digestion. People end up super constipated and things sometimes because your body's not
Yes. I
working
do.
to push the poop through because it's working just to make sure you stay alive.
Mhm.
Yeah, and
Mhm.
it's just and so it left these people after the show, they went back to like normal life. They had jobs that they weren't having to go to on the show. They were working out hours and hours and hours a day on the show. They weren't working out hours and hours once they went back to real life and back to their jobs and back to their families and back to normal meals that are made at home and all of that. And they, I think all but like just a couple of them, I think
Yeah.
it said, gained the weight back, and several of them gained back even more, which makes
Mhm.
sense because if your metabolism is much lower and you go back to normal, then you're going to gain
Yeah.
more. And it just changes your body composition so much too. So, like, your body fat percentage is so much higher, even if you're the same weight, because you don't have the lean. That weight isn't made up of lean mass, it's made up entirely or more so of the fat tissue, which throws off your body
Yes.
composition, which is a lot of what triggers a lot of like metabolic syndrome, whether it's diabetes or insulin resistance or cholesterol, all these other things come into play just because of the amount of how the body
Yeah.
composition changed.
And, I mean, they didn't learn any habits, like, nothing stuck
Mhm.
because they didn't learn the skill
Yeah.
of different of how to implement new habits or, like, how to
Yeah.
do things in real life, like you said. And the other thing too that I remembered I was gonna touch on was when they were doing those things where they had all of the sweets and pies and all those things
Mm,
out, psychologically, literally, your brain is going to want those things. When you
of
get out into
course.
real life, you're not playing for money anymore. Like, you haven't learned how to navigate that. Why are you having this craving? How am I gonna navigate this? How can I, work through that? So they're of course going to go back to, binging or just
Sure.
having all of that and because they haven't learned the habits or the skills to be able to like to be able to work through that at
Yeah,
all.
and they didn't get any of the mental health support that might help them through whether it is a binge eating disorder or whether it
Yeah.
is, the super restrictive stuff. They didn't have any of the mental health support to help them through that either. So
Mhm.
it all just goes hand in hand. I feel like the nutrition, the workouts, the therapy, you know,
Yeah.
we
Everything. It's
we
all
need
intertwined
it
and
is
yeah.
intertwined. I love it.
Yep.
So
Yep.
yeah, so that was I don't know, anything those were the main points that I had.
Yeah.
But
Yep.
I
Same.
encourage y'all to watch it. It is super eye opening. And I encourage you to watch it with a lens of, are some of the things that they are discussing on here, are these any beliefs that I have held or currently hold?
Yeah, that's a
And
good
kind
idea.
of challenging those beliefs and being open to seeing how unsafe a lot of these things are, and maybe kind of changing your perspective on what does it mean to be successful on a weight loss journey, or
Yeah, I love that.
whatever it might be. Because even to me, who I definitely used to, I mean, I was born in the 70s, so I've been through some cycles of diet culture shit, and I absolutely had a lot of those beliefs at one point. But even I don't now. But even though I don't have those now, even seeing some of the things, watching this documentary was eye opening to me, even
Yeah.
as someone with the mindset I have now.
Yeah. It's crazy. Yeah. So yeah, I like that point of watching it through the lens of that and just getting curious about
Yeah.
yourself too. Mhm.
And then to finish up, the last thing I had in my notes was something that one of the contestants, Tracy, said. Tracy is the one that almost died from rhabdo.
Oh yeah.
When they like light took her in the helicopter and whatever, y'all gotta watch. It was crazy. But one of the things that she said towards the end that I thought was such a good like wrap up kind of thing was she talked about how she used to really crave the comments that people would say, "Oh, you look great. Oh, you lost weight. Oh, whatever." Like she wanted other people cheering her on all the time, and that was kind of what motivated her. But she was like, "No, you got to cheer yourself on. And you've got to know that what you're doing is what's best for your health. And you don't need people to tell you you look good. You just need to make sure that you are your biggest fan and you continue to cheer for yourself." And I thought that that was really, because so many of these people, they wanted to go on national television because they felt like the pressure of the world watching was going to keep them going. But
Hell yeah. I think that's great. I remember her saying that and being like,
mhm,
I liked that.
yeah, yeah.
Mhm.
But that's like a mental health switch. That's a mindset switch that I think people aren't naturally going to come to without support. But
It is.
I thought it was cool that she is at least at that point where she knows we've got to cheer for ourselves. We got to be our own biggest fans. We got to love ourselves enough to take care of ourselves.
And not seeking that like external validation, which I know it's so easy. Like I remember having that positive reinforcement, but like you just never know what's happening, you know, in someone else's weight loss journey or whatever it is. But yeah, just learning to cheer for yourself and not seeking that external validation. It's hard.
Yeah,
I know.
It's absolutely hard, and it's a lifelong struggle, I feel like.
Yeah,
but it's worth it. You know,
yes,
if you can get there, I think that's it. So.
Yeah. Well, it says we're about 2 hours in. Okay, there we go. Under 2 hours at least. All right.
I don't know. Fine. I don't know if that's good or bad, you bobbers.
I know.
I don't know if I should say sorry or you're welcome.
I know. Yeah, it's just thank you. Like if you're still listening.
Thank you. Yes, you are the realest of the real if you are still here and listening.
Yeah.
So
all right.
Well, you guys know where to find us.
Time.
Yep.
Yeah. Bye.
Have a great one.